So, good afternoon, all the participants of for this cyber security course and the CDAC and NILAID personnel. Mr. Otul and Mr. Naresh is there. So, am I audible, Mr. Otul and Naresh?
Yes, sir. You are
So
audible.
I can continue.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So, this now Mr. Vilapandi has covered the basic concept of the information security management system and the requirement of the standard ISO IC 27001 for certification purpose or implementation. The details he has discussed. Now I talk a particular part of it, that is communication security and network security, which is one of the important aspects for the any ISMS certification system. So this is called network security for ISMS requirement. So I will give you more detail on that part. So I will talk about the network security. So this network security comes under the this annex control. You see that in the ISMS standard, there are mandatory system controls are there, annex controls are there. So under A13, the communication security is there. The main objective is to ensure the protection of information in networks and its supporting information processing facilities. As you know, we cannot work in an isolated world. We have to work connected for our communication to customers, different stakeholders, for any business purpose, e-commerce, or any type of transaction being taking place either in organization or your customers or your stakeholder, supplier. Always you need to communicate something to your customer for your very business purpose. So network security is very important. At the same time, you need to ensure the protection information whatever is passing through your network. Actually, there are two types of system information. One is the information at rest, which is residing in your system at your own control. And information at transit, some information you are communicating to different persons or organization through network. So we need to secure both the information at rest and also information passing during transition also. So both the requirements are there. And at the same time, you have to protect your information processing facilities also, your server, your router, your firewall, other systems are there. At the same time, we need to also protect those facilities also. So main need is to protect the information against any unwanted access, so that any unwanted unauthorized person should not get access of the information which is available in your network or systems. To safeguard the data from any inappropriate delay in the route followed to deliver it to the destination at the desired period of time. Because when you send the email or any communication or any transaction, that should not be unnecessarily delayed, because then the main purpose will be lost. So that business transaction should be proper. To guard the data from any undesired amendment also. That is when you are doing some websites are there or any transaction there, in between some man in the middle may also tamper your information for malicious purpose. You have to protect that, guard that, so that any undesired amendment should not occur in between. So your main purpose is to ensure the security of the information passing to the network. To guard our hardware, like if you see that on network, not only the network devices, your servers are there, laptops are there, network devices are there, the entire systems are there. To guard our hardware like hard disks, PCs, laptops from attack or malware, the antivirus, viruses, etc., which can damage our system by corrupting or deleting all the content stored within it. It may corrupt or copying, or some of the information may be maliciously distorted for malicious purpose. To protect our PCs from the software which is installed can harm your system as the hackers do. So that's why we recommend that when you work in a network connected system, to always use a lowest privilege user, so that if your any malware comes also, that will be installed. If you are working in the administrative privilege, though that malware or virus may get installed in your system, and that will create problem in your system and corrupt you all the files and systems. To safeguard our system from Trojan horses, worms, etc., which can completely destroy our system. So these are the different types of malware which can create problem in corrupting or your files in the system, you're not able to work. So network security need, this is network architectures are there, network security there, Wi-Fi's are there, network security admin, access management are required. I will talk in detail later during the book. The data loss and protection, DLP protections are there, endpoint securities are there. There are different system for either wireless connected or wire connected, cable connected networks. I will talk in detail. So mostly if you see that networks are connected to the physical layer, that the physical layer is either wire or wireless. In the wired network, the devices are connected to each other using the cables. Cat5, Cat7 cables are there. Typically, wire networks are based on the Ethernet protocol, while the devices are connected using the UTP cables are there for different switches, and the switches are further connected to the network router for accessing the internet. So there is a series of connections are there from the switch, router, firewall, the different servers, depending on the type of network. So there is one is the wired connection, another is the wireless connection. So in the way the communication in the through air, this is called wireless connection. The network device connected to an access point (AP) through radio transmission. The access points are further connected through cables to switch router for external networks and access. So one is the cable connection wired, another is the wireless connection like Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or whatever. The transmission taking place in the radio wave signal. So what are the physical execution for that? The physical network layout diagram is required for implementing the information security management system. First, you need to have a physical network layout diagram. So what the cables are passing through that, you have to take proper precautions. So you should not be exposed to external person. It can be also cut and also be damaged unintentionally or accidental also, both. Cable harnessing and marking. So whenever the cables are passing in your building or apartment or different area, that should be properly cable harnessed, and marking should be there for your maintenance purpose or identification, fault finding purposes. That should be properly harnessed. Concealed routing of cables to protect against accidental intentional damages. So when the cables are passing your campus, so that should be concealed. Otherwise, it may cut during this when the digging or other purposes. So that should be covered with the proper protection. Then physical access control to network rack. I think Mr. Bilapan has different domains are there under the physical and environment controls there. So wherever we keep the racks or server, that should be protected physically. So the unauthorized access should not be there in that area, and which may damage your system. And also requirement of temperature, humidity, power, cooling, etc. required for the network devices. Mostly people use NOC room, network operating control rooms are there, or for where you keep your network devices. That should be under proper temperature, humidity, and power cooling control system should be there. Then wireless network, the Wi-Fi protected access. You might have heard that WPA encrypts information and checks to make sure that the network security key has not been modified. So this is one of the way of protecting the wireless communication through WPA system. WPA also authenticates the users to help ensure that only authorized people can access the network. So WPA is designed to work with all wireless network adapters, but it might not work with older routers or access points. So now all the systems such as routers and APs are coming with the WPA facility. So this is the very simple diagram of a network diagram, like internet connections are there, modems are there, firewalls are there, there are servers, LAN, the mobile and the wired connection devices there. So first of all, you need to have a physical layout diagram of the system in your organization for knowing what the systems are there. So this diagram is very important, and control documents should be there. The network security consists of the policies and practices adopted to prevent and monitor unauthorized access, misuse, modification, or denial of a computer network and control network accessible resources. Resources means maybe printer, maybe there are other communication databases may be there. So these are the under the resources through which you can connect it. Network security involves authentication, authorization of access to the data in a network which is controlled by network administrator. Users, you know, in network there are three triple A are there: authentication, authorization, and accountability. You know this? Authentication means you have to identify the user who is given the password or different. I will talk in details later. So that is authentication. You are authentic. The user ID is being authenticated through your password or maybe different certificate ways or token to be authenticated. Then the authorization. You have been authenticated to access, but with what authority? That is called the authentication, authorization, access control, and then there is account A. Third A is accountability. Whenever you do any activity, either as a user or as an administrator, that will be logged for future reference calculation. If you want to verify who was the person at time who has accessed the network, so that accountability is there in the log files. You can see the log file, you will get the accountability. So nobody can deny, every activity will be logged there in the system. So authentication, authorization, and authentic accountability is a very important in the network security. You can see that how the data flow in network. The network, internet is there, one router, firewall, switch, different switches are there, backbone switches are there, and then internal LANs are there, these access points are there, their machines are there connected. Depending on type of organization, you have to design your system, and this is the network flow diagram in the network. Now the goals of network security. The primary goal of network security as confidentiality, integrity, and availability. I think Mr. Vilapandi has talked the basic definition of the CIA. I will not repeat much. The confidentiality is the function of one is to protect the precious business data from unauthorized person or disclosure. It should not be disclosed to the unauthorized person. Integrity means you have to maintain the accuracy of the data that should not be unauthorizedly modified or amended by an unauthorized person or changed by an unauthorized person. Availability means you have to make your system process facilities available to the authorized person for your basic purpose, like your website, your server, your LAN should be given to the authorized person for the actual functioning. Now you see that, as I told you, for the business purpose, you need to be connected in the network, but it is not a problem free. There are some vulnerabilities attached in the networks are there. The common vulnerability that exists in both the wired and wireless networks is a unauthorized access. So the people are there, malicious purpose, they will try to access your network. The attacker can connect his device to a network through a user have a switch code, no, rogue devices call it. You may not be knowing also someone you're connected to your access point, installing the access point and connected to device and get all the information and facilities. In this regard, wireless networks are considered less secure than the wired networks. That's why some organizations they don't allow this wireless network, because wireless networks can be easily accessed without any physical connection. So if it is aired with the device, you can, if it is properly configured and say secured, other person can also get access of the information or facilities. But you can also configure through proper SSID and password and protection. You can also protect it. After accessing, an attacker can exploit this vulnerability to launch attacks such as, so first one attacker, malicious attacker will access your facilities network. Then he will try to different malicious. One is the sniffing the packet or steal to invaluable information. So you only passively sniffing your data. Whatever data is being transmitted, he will look into that data or information. For sensitive data is very critical sometimes. Denial of service to legitimate users. He also act in a denial of service. Whatever legitimate users are there, they are able to use that because the malicious user will inject some unwanted bogus packets are there, so that authorized user will not be able to get the services. Then spoofing physical identities, MAC address to legitimate host, and then stealing data or further launching man in the middle attack. There are different attacks are there. I will just again some threats on the web, like integrity, the threats are the modification of user data, Trojan's browser, or modification of memory, modification of message traffic in the transit. So what are the consequences? Loss of information, compromise of machines, systems, vulnerability, all other threats also. And what is the countermeasure? Through cryptography checksums, hashing should be there. So whenever, if you see that sometime when you publish some software, I think, so this is a hash value, either MD5 or someone. So that is a hashing check some values. Whenever you download that and we check it whether in between there has been modified, unauthorized changes have been in, so that hash should match. Other if it is not matched, it will be understood in the in between the transit there might have something happened which is matching the hash values. So that is the integrity checker. Then confidentiality. Threats are eavesdropping, looking the shoulder surfing or browsing your information, eavesdropping on the net, theft of information from the server, theft of data from client, information about network configurations, network routing table configurations, network firewall tables may be there, info about which client talks to servers. So these are different threats are there. For different threats, there are different mechanisms are there to protect. The consequence is loss of information and loss of privacy. Whatever sensitive information, communication being there, that being lost. That sensitivity, confidence is lost. The countermeasure encryption. First, you have to encryption and web proxies. You have to web proxies are there. Some firewalls are there or web proxies are there. The original networks are in the DMZ under the DMZ zone. So that way it encrypt the sensitive data information and also using the web proxies. So this type of problem may be avoided. Then there is a problem of denial of service. So what are the threats are there? Killing of user threats, flooding machines with the bogus request, filling up disks or memory, isolating machine by DNS attack. There are different attacks, only naming few. There are many attack types are there, so which will disrupt your operation, disruptive, annoying, prevent legitimate user from your because denial of service, the website will not be getting. What are services there, it will be getting that. So that's why if you see that in the website, so there are captchas are there. Because if you don't give captcha, so user, malicious user may run a bash file. So people will keep your website busy in replying a response mode. So that's why, so whether it is a machine generated or man user, that will be detected by captcha. So they're giving after user ID or password, most of the banks and other things, they give some captcha, either image or text messages are there, so that this type of denial of service can be avoided. So difficult to prevent, but to some extent, through firewall rules and anti-DDoS devices are there, you can also protect your from the denial of service attacks. So next, the important thing is the network architecture. So this is the very important aspects while designing your network in the organization. First of all, you have to make the architecture, you have to define what are the systems are there, or what are the ISPs are there, internet service provider, and whether redundancies there are not, what are the firewall location, what are the modems are there. So the total network diagrams is visible to the network administrator. So this is the first level diagram available to the network architecture. It will be visible what is the path, whether the redundant path are there, what are the systems are there, whether redundancy is there or not. So what are the ISPs are there, how they connected. In case of failure of one, other will take up the redundancies. So these all are being captured in the network architecture diagram. So through that, the network administrator can identify the problem and also solve the problem easily. Then also security cannot be ensured through one layer. It is work in different layers also. You know, OSI several layers are there. So at different layers, there are different security aspects are there. As a security administrator or network administrator, you need to provide the security at different layers and different aspects. Like security at application, the topmost layer is the application layer. So security measures used at this layer are application specific. So the application takes specific measures for the security. So different types of applications would need separate security measures in order to ensure the application layer security. The applications need to be modified. Application layer security mechanisms for protecting network communications are prepared to use a standard basis, like the for the mail communications. MIME is there, secure multi-purpose network extensions. S-MIMEs are there. Like PGP is there for petticoat privacy, for encrypted communication is there. Then DNS security is there. There are different mechanisms for at the security at the application layer. So the security is being built in that application layer for the protection in the network communication. Then security at the transport layer. So as I told, different layers are there, several layers are there. So this is the security at the transport layer. The security measures at this layer can be used to protect the data in a single communication session between two hosts. The most common use of the transport layer security are the HTTP, HTTP and FTP sessions are there. These are HTTP and FTP are the clear text protocol. So when the communication is taken place from the host to host, so that is the clear text. If someone sniffs your packet, like you are sending your password, user ID. So if any malicious user that sniff your packet, you will be able to identify which is your user ID password. So that's why for the security purpose, people are using TLS or SSL. Well, that's why you in your now bank system or bank website, you find HTTPS. So HTTPS is a website. You are accessing like 80 protocol, 80 port number, and HTTPS is 443 is the protocol, port is the 443. So that's secured communication. So through HTTPS. So that is a network level protection. Whenever you send message from the host to you, that is given, it goes through an encrypted channel. So HTTPS. That is a security at the transport layer. So that's why if you go when bank sites and LIC sites are there, we find the HTTPS site as a trusted site. Network level security and network security measures are at this layer can be applied to all applications. So earlier, like PGP or DNSSEC and other things, that is particular application takes that security measures. But in this case, network layer security across all applications it takes care. The security measures at this layer can be applied to all applications, thus they are not application specific. And here, like IPsec, all application when the goes to this network layer, so it takes care of the security. Then in the ISMS organization, like if you are so many systems are there, different users are there, so better to go for a domain controller. So Active Directory provides a data repository, so that is logically centralized, maintains a single point of administration, but physically distributed, is synchronized to all multiple domains controllers throughout the network. Because whenever you define the, as you've seen, different domain password policies are there, different security measures are there. So individual has to implement those policies in the systems. But if you have a Active Directory services are there, domain controllers are there, all the policies will be deployed simultaneously all the systems. So the centrally controlled Active Directory services there. So the user responsibility less in this case in the domain controller, because all the security policies, password policies, your this autologger policies, all this will be automatically and device also automatically implemented in the system with the less intervention of the security administrator. So there are different systems are there, ADS services are there. So it may be local or it may be done within the same locality or different geographically placed organizations also. Maybe there are different branches are there, different cities places. So this can be done through also Active Directory services, maybe central locations there. So they are controlling all the user access controls are there. Okay, so that is a requirement for the security implementation in the organization. Big organization, for deploying all the security policies in the organization. So there are different structures and networks are there where you can implement your domain control active directory services. So that is one of the important requirement. So now you see that as I told initially, the network security composed of it starts from the cable. It also network devices like routers are there, firewalls are there, IDS is there, IPS is there, servers are there. So each have their role to play for the ensuring security. So a router is a common network device used in the big network architecture. What is the role of the router? Routers connect networks. One network to another is connected to the router. In our household also, we are using now a router from BSNL or different organizations. We're connecting, and also wireless connectors are there to router, to computer, you are connecting for networks. For example, connecting a private network to the internet, a router acts as a dispatcher choosing the best path for the information to travel. Routers connect users to the internet, and routers are layer 3 devices. When you connect the router, so router transmit to the internet. So there is connected devices. So these are the symbol of routers used in different networks. That's why initially network architecture, you have to see what are the networks are there. Then you have to connect what are the routers to be connected, what are the domains are there. Accordingly, you have to place the routers. The routers plays very significant role in the routing because the routing table is important. It selects what is the routing path. Different mechanisms are there. The dynamic routing paths are there, and in the router, the auto learning systems are there. So all the neighboring addresses are updated on regular basis in the router. Then firewall. Firewall is a device, access control device. So placed in the network. So it is it control the appropriate and non-appropriate users. Firewall inspect the traffic through it, allows traffic specifically the policy, drops everything else to there are packet filters are there, there are proxies are there, as initially told you, proxy services are there. So that is done to the firewall. So there is internet is there and firewall is there. So you see that it is not allowing all the packets, only legitimate packets which is defined or configured to the firewall rules, like different port, different applications, and different IP addresses, or inbound and outbound. So those will be only allowed through the firewall. Others will be dropped at this level. Only allowed packets, either the application, port, or IP addresses, that should be allowed go to the internal network. It will be a access wall. It will not pass everything. It will only be given a selectively passing the or legitimate packets only. Other packet will be dropped here in the firewall. So typical configuration. So there is a firewall which is a guard wall basically that protect your internal network. Internal host can be accessed. This is called demilitarized zone. DMZ is a demilitarized zone. So it is connected between this internet and your intranet. So there is a firewall called DMZ. This internal host can access DMZ. Internal host can access DMZ and internet. External host can access DMZ. It not directly go to the internal source. You'll see that it cannot go directly. If a service gets compromised, DMZ cannot affect the internal host. That is the purpose. If suppose a compromise, DMZ will protect the internet from the damage. Internal damage will protect it. So this was the web servers or the email servers, the connecting to the internet is a DMZ zone, and there is a firewall is there, and then your intranet, your LAN is there, your servers are there, user devices are there. So in the internet. So in between intranet, there is a firewall is there, DMZ, firewall, then internet. This is the very common structure for putting the firewall in the DMZ zone. So this will be configurable in the architecture. At the architecture level, So depending on the type of organization, type of activity, you have to configure and place the firewalls accordingly to protect your internal network. Then, as we told, network security attacks are there, denial of service attacks are there. The many type of attacks are there. SIM sliding is there, SMARP attack is there, distributed DDoS and DDoS attack is also there in the network. Then there is a system called IDS, Intrusion Detection System. As you know, the firewalls are there. It is configured, but different rules are inbound and outbound rules are being set, configured, IP number, protocols, other things are there configured. And IDS, what is the role is that it identified whatever packets are entering the system, it will indicate and give a alarm. So this is a system and give the what is the permissible, non-permissible, it will give indication. IDS. And IPS is there in the one step ahead. It prevent intrusion prevention system. So if it is that legitimate, it block the malicious activity and also track the progression of suspect files and malware across the network to prevent the spread or breaks after a reinfection. So IPS is the prevention, and that will detect some malicious packets going through the network. That will give an indication, or in a log you will get that. And if you place IPS, it will also block with your signatures are there, they will be updated to block the attacks. That is a IPS is implemented. So there are different denial service attacks are there. So your perpetrator malicious users are there, and you compromise your victims are there, and through this denial of service, the ICM eco are being they send some malware or a mail so that they implant some reply response so that each of the devices send a echo to this. So this victim machine get a number of ICMP echo reply and flooded with that. So normal function will be stopped here. This is called denial of service attack. So like the different mechanisms are the very simple way to explain that how this denial of service attack take place in the victim machine. So this all receive and get that victims echo reply. Now, one important thing that as I told you, the authentication. So, if for any network devices for accessing, one is the identification and authentication. What is identification? Identification user ID. Who is the user? The subject. Who is the user or subject? And how will be authenticated? So that is a credential. Authentication credential through password. One may be there are different authentication mechanisms. The one-factor authentication, like you are giving your password, the user ID. When you log in, you are giving your user ID. That is a identification, and password is your authentication. A single factor authentication. If you give your user ID and give your password, so the system will be allowed. You will be authenticated to access the system. That is a single authentication. Now, for a very secure system, you are not happy, maybe password may be compromised. You want to give more strength in the authentication. So in addition to the first factor, the second factor is something a user has, like your token, RSA token, soft token may be there, your card is there, these are certificates are there. So one more thing is there, like a biometric may be there also. So that type of things is there. So you are giving two-factor authentication password along with a like this token, RSA token or digital certificate. So two-factor has to be complied. Then the system will allow to access your the network. That is two-factor authentication. Maybe three-factor authentications are there. Multi-factor authentication are depending on the type of system or security requirement. The system can give one-factor, two-factor, or three-factor authentication, and the user has to comply. Then the system will allow to access the system. So authentication, what you know the password, a phrase or PIN number, like a bank you are getting PIN number. What you have is tokens, smart cards, passcodes, and the RFID also there. Who you are biometrics such as fingerprints or iris scan, retina scans are there. or signature of voice. So these are the different authentication mechanism devices through which you will be authenticated to access. Then second is authorization. You have been authenticated to access the system, but with the what role? So that is done through the authorization. Like if you have, that will be a user ID, maybe a normal user, maybe a system administrator, maybe a log administrator, like a backup administrator. That is given by the roles or groups or location or time. So these are defined in the authorization process. So user may not be have all the privileges. So this is basically privilege setting or role setting. So a different user have different roles, different trust level or groups or location, time. So this has been determined by the authorization process. Not all the user having the same authorization. So grants user access to a particular resource and what? We may not be getting all the resources, only very specific menus will be applicable or usable to all the processes. This is also called access control also. Then therefore the radius and trackers for the remote accessing also, for sometimes for administration or database system, there are remotely authentications are there through radius and trackers protocols. The switches, users, or a router, firewall, that is called radius and trackers. Therefore, remote authentication. Now, if you see that in the standard 27001, so there are requirements of network control. So network control shall be managed and controlled to protect information in systems and applications. So there are different control objectives are there and controls are there. So in this case, the under 13.1, so the operational responsibility for networks should be separated from the computer operations. Establishment of responsibility and management of remote equipment, the special controls to safeguard the confidentiality and integrity of data passing over the public networks, remote control of network equipment, network like SNMPs are there, network monitors to detect the attacks and analyze the traffic, restricted routing to specific network addresses, access control to allow only authorized users, encryption of transmitted data to retain confidentiality. So these are the requirements specified in the network control. For if you clause you see for control objectives, so the requirement is the network shall be managed and controlled to protect information in system and applications. What is the difference between system and applications? Your servers, web servers of the system, and whenever the some applications or websites are running, so those are the applications. So different the systems and different security measures are required. And applications are different security measures there. So whenever you launch a website or application, so those systems or applications need to be separately tested, certified. Then you can also only launch that application in the network. Because you see that all NIC or other network applications or websites are being tested. There is also GIWD guidelines are there for Government of India's networks or applications or websites that have been tested and certified by that and being uploaded after that certification from a certain approved laboratory. Then for application and system, I'll talk in there are vulnerability analysis and penetration testings are there, where all the systems are separately tested and verified in network. Then they are allowed for acting in the network security. So there are system level control and applications level controls are there. Then security object control, security mechanism, service levels and management requirements, all the network services shall be identified and included in network services agreements, whether these services are provided in-house or outsourced. Some of the services may be provided by outsourced party also. So you then need to the separate security measures to be taken care by if you give some work to be done by the external party. So there should be a service level agreement signed with the party. So he will be working on behalf of that. So that way you have to hello. এই মানে আমার ক্লাস হয়ে যাবে আধ ঘন্টা পর বলছি so this you need to sign a SLA, service level agreement with the customer or your stakeholders for securing that. A regular monitoring and audit on the ability of the network service provider also. So the requirement for network control as per the, say, the standard 27001, you need to provide all the security while dealing with the other network services. So groups of information services, users and information systems shall be segregated on network. This is very important because if you're a big organization, your different roles and activities are there. ERP is running there also maybe. So the as per the requirement of the security, so they are recommending separating the network because the billing sections are there, the purchase sections, the human resource sections are there. So there should be separate domains or separate isolated network because whether the two things are there. One is that if some network particular sections get corrupted or by virus affected, that we immediately isolate that. And or also the for the confidential part of that, if you want to do keep a isolation from the billing section, from other section or design sections or confidence sections of there, so we make a virtual network that will protect that because other section will not be able to access those other systems. So this segregation can be done using either physically a different network or by using different logical network or VLAN. I'll talk about the VLAN also. So that way you have different VLAN structures. So that's why in the architecture you have to find out how many VLANs are there connected in the organization. So that is segregation of network within the organization, within the LAN. You have to separate for different activities, billing section, finance, HR, or different production or design section, you have a different domain. So the inter-domain communication will be prevented. Other way, if some rogue devices are implanted, that will protect it. So this is the VLAN, the structure. A virtual local network is a logical subnet that groups a collection of devices from different physical LANs. So this is the one LAN, this is VLAN. So they connected in the network, cross connected like this. So that's why you can give a isolation in the big organization. Then in mostly in a lockdown state, people are working from home. So how you can work securely in the that is using a VPN service, virtual private network. How does it work? The employee is there, the employee credentials are there, VPN employees, VPN clients are there, encrypted communication. In the VPN, whatever the communication from the employee to the internal resources, servers or databases are, so that is going to a VPN encrypted channel. So anybody, if it tries to intercept, will not be able to get the information because it is a channel, encrypted channel is there. So it will be a secured way for that working from home, or if you work from any hotel or any other outside the organization, that should be done to the VPN, virtual private network. So this is the encrypted channel. If you work through the internet also, the ISP is there and it's done to the internet channel. Your internal company resources are there, servers are there, databases there, and the user working from home to the VPN channel. So they protected. So then if you see that A13.2, there is requirement information transfer. For your business purpose, you need to transfer some of the documents, communication to client or stakeholder. So there is a requirement is there. So there is always the risk when the information or software are sent to other organization, as those may not be looked after the way other owners wants to. So that's why establishment of formal policy, also how do what the policy of exchanging information to client or parties or stakeholder, that has to be established first. Whether it will be sensitive information, that whether it will be encrypted communication or mail communication or through other mode, it has to be, or FTP communication or SFTP communications are there, that has to be finalized initially. So the establishment of the formal policy complies with the relevant regulations are there, or whatever regulations are there, you have to comply the legislation. Like the GDPR, you might have known that Privacy Acts are there. So or whatever is available, applicable, You have to comply those security and privacy regulations are there. Protection of physical media content information in transit. So if you want to give the floppy or a hard disk or CD, so what are the protections if it is lost? What are the information lost or that has to be done to the encrypted? If it goes to wrong hand also, so it not disclose to the unauthorized person. So those policy has to be framed because like in the defense and other, they don't do in normal communication. They have a separate way of communication either through network or through the floppy with the on in-person communication. So they don't to give a courier or anything in the in-person with the proper sealing and other things are there. That goes by the in-person by the personnel and hand over to the authorized person only. They are not going to. So this information as a policy should be there, and this has to be agreement and electronic messages should be done and confidence should be and ensured. The information policies and procedures are there. Formal transfer policies, procedures, and controls should be in place to protect the transfer of information through the use of all types of communication facilities. So whenever you communicated from your one place to other place, that has to be protected. Protection of transferred information from interception, copying, modification, misrouting, corruption by malicious codes or distraction. You have to ensure that to be in line with the accepted use policy. So as I told Mr. Vilapan was telling you, the accepted policy you define in your policy document. Consideration of risks of wireless communication. You have to find out what are risks in wireless communication. Then you have to find the mechanism and measures for the protection and the security. Details of user contacts and responsibility you have to define. Whenever you give some authentication or credential to user, they have to say they know what is the responsibility of that passwords and they have to maintain the sanctity and security of that. Otherwise, if they disclose, the whole purpose will be lost. So that they have to sign an agreement also. Whenever they use their system processes, they have to sign NDA, non-disclosure agreement. Either the internal employee or the external stakeholder, like sometimes your suppliers may be coming for the repair maintenance purposes, they will access process system. They need to also sign that agreement also, NDA sign. Internal people as well as the external people who will access process your system. Use of cryptographic techniques to protect confidentiality, like encryptions are there for protection, integrity, and authenticity through a VPN also. If you working from home, so if working from home, there are two things are very important. One is that using VPN, and also whether you allow the own devices to be connected on network or the company's devices. What is the difference with that? If you use your own laptop, you have no binding from the company side. Whatever softwares are installed, what the games are there, you never know. But if you want to connect to the network, that may create problem to your device also. So that's why companies are using a MAC authentication, MAC based. So whenever you laptops or any device are connected, so there is a first level check is of whether it is authorized device or non-authorized device. So MAC address is checked first. Then you will allow, because that device already registered in your system. Those devices will be allowed from the outside network to access the system. So that is called MAC-based authentication. User bindings are there. User various voice and video communication options are there. Nowadays, people are using the video conferencing systems are there. So there, whatever communication being passed on to the video, so that is very important to maintain the security also. Even also you are using faximile system also, whenever communication made, that has been ensured. So information may be also divulged to that mode also. So as well, you need to make a agreement for transfer with the client or any stakeholders, the proper signing by the authority. Then the requirement is the network monitoring also, because the network administrator, he need to monitor how the network is performing. While Intrusion Detection IDS monitors network threats from the outside, a network monitoring system monitors the network for problem caused by the overloaded or crash servers or network connections or bandwidth consumption also. whenever you provide some services, now people are using SIM tool, network event monitoring tools are there for all these purposes, whether network jamming is there or bandwidth consumption is much more, or the denial of service attacks are there. So that will be monitored through the tool also. The network tomography also there. Tomography is an important area of network measurement which deals with the monitoring the health of various links in a network using end-to-end probes send the agents allocated. Route analytics. Whatever route is another important area of network measurement. It includes the methods, systems, algorithms, and the tools to monitor the routing posture of networks. So this is done mostly by tool. The network monitoring tools are there, NMS tools are there. So basic function is the discover, mapping, monitor, sending alert, and reporting. So this is done by the NMS tools are there. NMS tools, different capabilities are there. I can show you that these are their mapping systems are there. It will give the total network with also indication like green and reds are there or yellows are there. So that is, the network administrator will be able to find out which network is affected, what is the problem. So that is a give from the map, you'll be able to find out the problem and immediately take action. So whether jamming is there or bandwidth consumption is more or some choke is there, network cracks are there. So that will immediately find out through this monitoring of the map, network maps are there. And also there is a reporting systems are there. You know how many systems are up and how many systems are down. So that will give a indication at a glance of what are the systems are running, what are the problems are there, which area, which subnet are problem. So that all the information will available through the net. So this is called security information and event management tools. Teams are there. Very common tools are like the SolarWinds security event managers are there. MakeUp enterprise security manager tools are there. So I'm not endorsing anything, but there are commonly used the security monitoring tools are there available in the market. People are using CA tools are there. So many tools are there. HP different tools are there. So they are used for the network monitoring. These products come in various forms, including the physical and virtual appliances and server products. Then, as I told initially, the confidentiality and non-disclosure agreement it is signed by the parties for communication acceptance. Then, as I told you, that applications should be tested for application security, and your system should be tested for vulnerability. For vulnerability means for the internal weakness of the system, like you are using servers, router, firewall, or IDS, IP switches. So these are not error-free, or also they are using some operating systems also there. So there could be some problems are there, and also this is a look by the vulnerability analysis. Vulnerabilities on network devices on regular basis, like people are carrying out a Nessus scan. We scan all the network ports and what are the ports are open, what are the security patches are there or not. So this will be visible through this Nessus scan. Then also end mapping tools are there so that you can scanning all the ports open, and the security rules is that only whatever ports are required for your business purpose, only keep those ports open, otherwise close all the ports. You should not, it is a window of opportunity of attack. If you keep the more attack surfaces, the more problem will be there through those windows of ports. So that's why through the Nmap and Nessus scan, you get the idea what are the ports are open. Accordingly, you close those non-functioning ports through the Nessus scan or this Nmapping scan. Then patch management is very important, because when the different companies or release that patches, at that time they may not take all the guards. So during some reportings are there by the client or their internal research, they release some patches to fix those vulnerabilities. So as a network administrator, you need to update your system on a regular basis. This should be regular activity to find out what are the network patches, the problems are there, run the Nessus scan or other scanning tools are there, and find out what are the problems are there, and accordingly you take guard what are the patches are required on a regular basis. Then penetration testing is a also next level. After by vulnerability, you find some lacunas are there, weaknesses are there, whether that is being penetratable or not from remotely. If you access those IPs and other applications, whether say how much damage you can do from the external user, so that you have imitated that by malicious attacker mode to see whether that any attacker mode that can exploit that vulnerability or not. So that penetration testing is there. So vulnerability analysis first level, then you have to do the exploit analysis, the penetration testing on regular basis, and you have to close all the whatever vulnerability being found out during this in the exercise. You need to close all these vulnerabilities. Then there is a requirement of BCP, business continuity management. As we told that there are different domains are there. In the domain, one of the requirements is BCP, and also for nowadays the BCP 3310 is a separate standard and certification scheme has come out. But as a part of 27001, the BCP is one of the activity to be taken care in the case of disaster situation or network security to be maintained also. So you do like national calamity or any fire hazard or any type of problem, in the network should be protected from that. So in the disaster situation, so for that you need to take a proper backup and restoration on a regular basis. So you have to take up the what are the backup policies there. So that's why in initial stage you have to find out the what are the policies there, and that will be supported by the procedures, backup policy procedures, and then there is a restoration on regular basis. So there should be a mechanism whether for the backup will taken care, whether that been restorable or not. Other you can just taking the backup and keeping in the Almira, it will not work in the during the actual need of time. So that's why on regular basis from the backup files, you need to restore title and make a record of that during the ISMS audit. So these the documents will be required to be shown to the auditor also. So backup log, backup restoration process, policies, all has to be maintained in the record. Then there is a requirement of redundancies in a network device. As you know, in the architectural level, I first discuss you the redundant device level like firewall, load balancer, router. If one system goes bad, other system will take care of that. So it starts from the internet service provider. Like you have different service provider. If because of some reason one service provider is not able to give the services, so there should be mechanism of with a additional ISPs. So in case of problem with the one, so that has to be given by the other ISPs, and power supplies, what are the devices there, and there should be a make a first level BCP plans should be there, and there is a regular testing also whether the backup whatever you design whether it work at the actual time of need. So that has to be practiced on regular basis also. That is a BCP testing. Then there is a requirement to endpoint security, because this is mostly required for working from home when you are using like your laptop, going to home and accessing a system, whether devices are properly secured or not. So that has been ensured to the endpoint security. Then there is a requirement on nowadays data loss prevention, DLP techniques are there, because some of the organizations people are joining and they also going to other computer organization. By the time they can also steal some of the information are leaked to the network also. That's why you need the protection of DLP technology so that he cannot transfer the very confidential or patented information to his other organizations. So that's mostly this happened during his leaving the organization. That time he may send some information to his personal email or some other email, so he can utilize in a later stage. So that will be protected to the DLP technology. So blocks the ports and sites for forwarding, uploading, and even the printing of information are protected by the DLP technology. And last but not the least, there is a requirement from network protocol tool, time management, because we have so many devices there, router, firewalls are there. Each devices have own time frame. So that has to be synchronized. So that is done through the NTP tools are there. So that's why you need to have a time clock synchronization mechanism so that all the devices in the network have to be synchronized to the same time. All the time stamping is very important. If some incident is happened, that has been properly identified at what time, and it is, and all the systems will be having tuned to the same time frame. So this is in brief all about the network security. So Mr. Naresh and Mr. Atul.
Yes, sir.
So if you have any question, you please ask me.
Sir, there is not any question. Thank you, sir.
If any question is there, I am available through email. So
Yes.
participant, or you can ask me through over the email also. I am available and I will try to give you answer at the time also.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for patience hearing. Okay, Mr. Otil, now I'm going out from this session.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.